Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Yes, it's me, Adam from Reactive Terrain, and this is a build series. We are going to be building, yes, wait for it, everybody's seen them, one of these. Yep, we're going to be taking the playmobil Volkswagen and we're going to be turning it into some awesome scaled looking monster. I don't know what we're going to do with it yet, but I've seen some really cool videos. Yep, 24, super one-handed, and there's even one floating around on Facebook, which is like black with kind of gold bull bars and roll cages. Looks absolutely brilliant. This is going to be a parts build. I'm going to be delving into my boxes of bits and seeing what I've got lurking around that we can use. And I've got to decide on what platform I'm going to do it on as well. Just to the right of us, we've got my scx24, so maybe I'll put that in. I'm not sure yet. I've got a TRX4M gearbox and motor. Yeah, I don't know. Comes with a few accessories. We've got a roof rack, little cool box, a couple of dudes, surfboard, parasail. I'm not sure we're going to be using too many of these, but other than that, look, it even comes with spin it around. Look at this. Got a little engine bay. Not sure this is as detailed as I'd like it. I might end up 3D printing my own engine bay. Yeah, you can even get the split screen as well. So let's delve into the box and see what this thing looks like in real life. As you can see, officially licensed. It's always nice. Oh yeah. Let's get the tabs off. Oh, do want to. Well, there's no delicate way of doing this. Just going to have to go at it. Should have had. Everybody seems to have fancy knives. I got fancy fingers. Right. There we go. Right, look at that big pile of bits. Oh yeah, look at the blue, baby blue. Any more in there? Yeah, a few more bits in there. Oh no, look, there's another bag in there. There's the wheels and tyres. And some stickers and the manual. Well, we'll come back to the stickers. I'm not sure we need the manual. All right, let's open some bags. So this has got all the accessories in. I'll probably donate this to a little kid or something. I don't need these. I might take a few bits out of it maybe. Cool box, surfboard's pretty cool. That could go in the workshop. But the rest of it, yeah, I'm probably gonna donate those little bits. That's pretty cool though. But yeah, surfboard I'm definitely going to nab out of it. That looks pretty cool. Put that in the shop somewhere. There, it's pretty big. We know the scale's going to be big. If you were to do a 1/24 scale, it'd probably be like this big. And you'd need some really small front and rear links. Wheels and tyres. Let's open these out and have a little look at the wheels, whether they're usable or not. The tyres are definitely not usable. But, again, you know, for £21 off Amazon, guys, this is what it is at the moment. On Prime, you know, you get yourself some really cool scaled accessories. So there's a nice set of tyres. I might even have a build to put them on, you know, on the back of a trailer, a race trailer or something like that. Do they fit on the drifters? Let's have a look. I've got a little 1/28 drifter here. They're quite large. Maybe not. Yeah, cool. Right. Ooh. So look at the wheels. All right, so these are kind of the old banded steel kind of style. This is exactly what I've got on mine at the moment, on my 1-1. I actually own a Volkswagen Beetle, and yeah, got the chrome caps as well, as do I on mine. They look pretty cool. I could 3D print something to take them, you know. But then you've got to try and get a tyre on. Let's have a look at a little tyre. There's a tyre. Ooh, oh, that's close. Now that's interesting. Maybe with a conversion band, maybe 3D print some little kind of adapter just so it takes the tyre on the rim as well. It's not a lot, but it might work. And then replicate that pattern in there. And yeah, maybe we might be able to use them. Either way, they look cool. Look great in the shop. So not too sure what else. I don't know what these other bits are in here. Not sure what that is. Maybe I should have read the manual. That's not much fun. Right, so bag 2, wheels and tyres. Move that body out of the way. Right. Bag 3. Right, this has got some good stuff in it. Bag 3, let's open this up. Little roof rack. That's pretty cool. Could probably do them wood as well. That would look nice. That's pretty cool. What we got in here? Oh, look. Cheers. Little bottle of said refreshments. Another one. Oh, that looks like a rear tail light. That's pretty cool. Okay, rear tail lights. Exhaust. Yeah, that looks like a, oh, I don't know. Yeah, that looks like probably a tail piece, maybe for the exhaust. The canvas top. This is obviously a soft top. I'm not sure I'm going to use it as a soft top. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. Little luggage case. Nice little scaled accessory. And the rear lid for the engine bay. Yes, the engine is in the back of these. And what else has it got in here? A couple more bottles. A front lens of some sort. And oh, some wing mirrors as well. And I don't know sure what this is. I don't know what that piece is there. Don't know. We'll figure that one out. But okay, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to tip these out. I don't need the bag. Let's put these in the shop. Right, get rid of that. All right, guys, the main course. We've had our little starter. Let's have a little look and see what this looks like in real life. And I have to say, I'm super impressed. £21, hard body, loads of detail. And I'm going to be honest with you, I bet underneath this it's probably a white ABS plastic, and I reckon if you just used a foam pad scourer, you could patina this up really easy without kind of going too crazy. You'd have to watch your windows so you didn't buff the windows and scratch them, but you could patina this in an instant. What I might do is see how well it patinas. It's going to be a shame. I don't want to kind of end up losing the decor on the front. Lenses look pretty cool. Not sure if we can get, oh, they do look clear from underneath. The light's kind of coming through, you can't really see it. Just going to have a quick look to see how the body comes apart. Looks like there's some pressure clips buzzing around, so I'm going to see if I can get this body off without breaking anything and see if we can start removing something. That's one big steering wheel. My word. Although they were, my one in my Volkswagen Beetle is huge as well. It's like a big trucker's steering wheel. Right. Like I say, the engine bay is too bad. Yeah, maybe just a couple of 3D printed scaled accessories in there wouldn't go amiss. But overall, super impressed. Right, let's get the body off, see what bits we can pull off it. Alright, so first of all, you're going to need yourself a little flat screwdriver. I'm just going to basically just put a small amount of pressure in here and you'll hear it pop. Just in here, I say small amount of pressure, fair bit of pressure, and that pops the little side seals off. So that's those gone. Okay, so next thing you're going to want to do is take a little screwdriver and just prise the bumpers off. And then the back, again, just going to get your screwdriver in. Yeah, release it a little bit. And hopefully that then releases the hole underneath. It gives you a bit of an idea. Now you can kind of separate. Looks like you can separate these from each other. There's a few tabs are kicking around. There we go. Yeah, front and rear tabs. Again, flat screwdriver. And I can see that in the rear engine bay, there's a tab there and a tab here. And that should release the whole of the bottom. And once you've released all your tabs, you should be able to take the engine bay out and release your interior. And that gets rid of the base plate of the Volkswagen Beetle. Again, I suppose you could use it somewhere on your course or in your garage. I'm not sure I'm going to, but there we go. Okay. And there we go. So that's freed up all of the Volkswagen Beetle shell. And I guess you can kind of put these back on if you wanted to use them. I don't know if this was the right one. Yeah, and that would cover up everything again on the sides, so you don't have to worry about those bits. And like I say, I've got a pretty cool interior you could use, so I think that will release as well. Yeah, there's a couple of spring-loaded clips in there. Steering wheel, Right, so could use it. Depends. Doesn't give you a lot of room, and you'd have to probably cut a lot out to put the gearbox in there. But let's have a look and size it up with some links and some sizes. All right, let's get rid of the tools. I have to say the blue does look pretty cool. It's a nice colour. The only thing I was going to see is if the windscreen and everything can also come out. It probably does. I'd have to take a little closer look. It's pretty well in there, so I'm not sure that they. Don't know, they seem well moulded in. I don't really want to break them. They're quite hard, clear plastic, so I don't know if I'd want to kind of pull around too much to release them. I may end up. Yeah, they are in there good. I think you probably could get them out, but I think you'd run the risk of damaging them. So I guess we're going to be masking them up. It doesn't weigh that much. Probably not much more than the probably about 35 grams, something like that. All right, this is the scx24 2-speed, long links on the rear, still stock on the front, and we're just going to have a little size comparison. So yeah, it's that's way too long. Really, and does it look right on the front, or is it too wide? Yeah, I don't want it to kind of look too monster truck like. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want it to look crazy monster truck size. So let's pull that away and see. I still think I'll probably use this 2-speed for the wrecker plans. I think it's a good chassis for wreckers, the scx24 with the 2-speed. Portals, slightly bigger, slightly longer. Let's take the Ninja Goat and have a little look. This is C-bolt, I think. Yeah, see, look, that fits really nice into there. And let's have a little look. These are quite wide. I might put it on some stock axles and see how it looks on those. But yeah, that's almost there with that. Yeah, I'd say that was pretty much there. So that's what we're kind of looking at. I think this is C-bolt kind of sizing. And again, small wheels and tires, Adam. I can't give myself to build stuff with big wheels and tires. I'm such a tart when it comes to the wheels, but let's just kind of balance it out there. So there we go. That's what we're looking at. Okay. All right, so I think I'm going to have to hit the parts box and have a little look. I wonder if the Ninja Goat skid plate actually goes inside this. I don't think it will. Oh, it's not far off though. It almost does fit in there. That could almost work. I do have some of these nice, cool, black looking rims as well. Do I want to cut the arches? I don't know. I don't know if I do. It's a tough call. I think for me the next stage is to get some inspiration, and let's have a look and see what parts I've got and kind of go from there. Alright, so this is the parts boxes of all the stripped down rigs and bits for the upgrade, and lots of stock length in there. My links are actually all in another box, which I think is at the bottom of there, so I'll get that out in a minute for the links. So what platform am I going to use? I was just literally just having a quick browse. I've got this like 1/16 thing. That's no good. That's really big. That's for a different type of project. I've got plenty of scx24 axles where I've upgraded. You know, nosy. Okay, so this is 1/16, so that's no good. That's for something completely different. I want to build a big boy rig. It's got the minicrawler, of course, but like a military apocalypse vehicle. I don't know, I had a crazy idea. They were really cheap, so I picked them up. I've got some scx24 gear, but I really do think I'm probably going to use this for the Cherokee build, because one thing I like about this is it really doesn't sit very wide, and I think it'll look super scaled with that, and with this as well. I mean, it does kind of sit in there quite nice, but we could probably give it a little bit more width. So I think I am going to run along the route of scx24. That's it. The cats are all there. If you're an avid follower of the show, you'll know that these little boys, well, not so little now, were these tiny little furballs that I rescued. Well, nearly a year ago, boys. Nearly a year ago. There was another one. We didn't kill that one. They all survived. He's in the back. So I think I'm going to go in... yeah, I'm definitely going to go scx24 axles. I wonder if I should put a TRX4M gearbox in it. Put some big juice in it. Maybe that's what I'll do. Plenty of drive shafts or axles, whichever way you want to call them, and springs. I've got more springs than I know what I'm doing with, because every time you buy a set of shocks, they come with like an abundance of springs. I think I'm going to actually use these oil shocks on it as well. I think I did put these on the goat, but I ended up going back to my faithfuls, the ones I've been running for ages. So, all right, that's the plan. Let's get a load of bits together and set it up on the jig and see what type of wheelbase we're looking at. Okay, so I've definitely decided to go with the scx24. So I've just got it in the jig. This is rig jig. Yeah, nice and original. But this is the beta of a new product that we're doing. Well, it's going to be launched pretty soon, or I may have even done it by now. Who knows? Oh, they're upside down.
All right, so I'm probably I'm definitely going with the scx24. I've got plenty of stock axles and other stock items to go with this bug. I've just got it in the jig, and I'm going to check what wheelbase we're going to need regarding links, and I might even have a look. I still haven't used my Ramp Crab LCG chassis kit yet either, so I might even see how that kind of measures up with the body. So you can now get the rig jig. This will cover pretty much most mini crawler platforms. It really does make life just that little bit easier, especially if you're in a bit of custom work and stuff like that. If you're doing some roll cages, bodies, you've got kind of a couple of different stages. At the moment, I've got it in the jig so that I can adjust the wheelbase up, kind of get the chassis in place, see what links I need, and then you can kind of swap these out and then put some axle stands on it, so then you can detail and do what you need to the body. Right, let's get the bug and see where we're at wheelbase wise.
All right, so the bug is on the jig, and let's have a little look. So kind of line the front up pretty well, but that's right back there, so we need to move that right up and kind of get it in the middle. Luckily, looks like the bug on the front has a kind of mold line. I don't know if you can pick up on the camera, but that's pretty much center of the wheel arch. That's a nice indicator to see where we're going to go. And then this is probably going to come up, well, if you look at the jig, I've actually got a little measuring stick on the side, so you can kind of eyeball it in, and it looks like we're going to kind of be sitting around about this mark here. So let's wind her up and get her in place. All right, there you go. So on the jig, you can see you got these little indicators, and that kind of marks along the ruler about where roughly it's going to be. It's pretty accurate. I've got it as good as I possibly can with a 3D printer. With the new one, like I said, this is the beta. This is the actual rig jig, and you can see I've actually marked every 5 centimeters as well on this, and I've brought the line across just to make it that little bit easier to be able to kind of dial it in and see. Here I haven't got that along here. It does make it a little bit tricky to kind of line it all up. So yeah, that kind of works with that. And the other thing, got these center stands, and you can just kind of make sure that your axle is kind of upright as well, not too much pointing down. You don't actually have to really kind of over tighten these either. You can kind of loosen them up with your fingers and move them around and then tighten them back up. Nice and easy. All right, that is everything. I think we're good for the wheelbase. Just a quick check again. Yeah, we're good. Right, let's dig out this ramp crab chassis. All right, here we go. This is the ramp crab chassis kit. You can get these in a couple of lengths. I think it's Gladiator and kind of C10 kind of size. Right, we've got a Lynx. What's this? 51 upper on the rear, 58.5 lowers on the fronts, 39s and 50s. They are drop links as well, so they have got the slight little curve on it. Now these are slightly different to the ones that you can get with ramp crab, because these ones look, I've seen these before. Obviously G-Dog's already opened his and used his, and they've kind of got this kind of plastic end to it, which I'm not too sure why they've kind of done this. I mean, it's a cool idea, but for me that just looks like a weak spot, really. Unless you could, unless you know, unless they do this part where you can replace it. I don't know. Either way, yeah, not you know, when you look at the goat over here, these are ramp crab brass. You know, they're full. They're not. They haven't got these little plastic ends on it. But you know, there we go. We'll give it a go. Right, what else we got in the bag of bits? Carbon fiber chassis rails. I know this comes with a 7-degree skid as well. Plenty of adjustments on those. Look at that. More holes than a colander. Overall, machining on it's not too bad at all. Yeah, relatively clean. A couple of holes that haven't quite popped through, but you know, that's just the last little bit from the drill. They've actually got the recess for the bumpers in there as well, so that's a nice little attention to detail, front and rear. Yeah, not too shabby at all. Bearing in mind, these are like, I think when I paid for this, it was like £30 postage and packaging. So yeah, not too bad at all. Next up, battery tray and ESC tray. These look like 3D printed parts. That's these surgical scissors. Right, let's have a look at the print quality of this. He says, like I'm a connoisseur at 3D printing. Not. Alright, so it's not printed on the finest lines. You can see the lines in this quite a lot. It's not too bad. I mean, the print's relatively clean. I'm surprised they didn't do it a finer print on it. And it's printed flatways. So that, for me, that could definitely cause breakage going along here. 3D printing it can definitely cause problems along the line. So yeah, I'd be watching out for that. Obviously they couldn't print it any other way, but you could do a tighter print to make it a little bit stronger, and that same applies pretty much for all these parts. They've all been printed or flat down, and yeah, it's a little gnarly in a few places. Like yeah, I guess I don't know what that is. It's like a little like a little tray of some sort. And then you got the ESC tray. Again, I think that's actually gone all the way through, so you should be able to. Oh no, they've just left like the tiniest amount left underneath, so it's almost coming through. You can just see the light coming through, so that's real thin. And again, like I say, you know, they've printed it from the flat out. Might cause a few problems. Gonna have to be nice and careful with the screws. Well, that's quite cool. It's a nice little wire tidy kit in there. That's quite nice. Looks like a little bit of thread lock in there as well. Some cable ties, some faux pads. Yeah, nice little touch. Yeah, I quite like that. Brass skid. This is a flat skid. Full brass. Again, let's have a look at the machine quality on this. Yeah, see, you know, I expect their brassware to be relatively clean. It's okay. The discrepancy is a little bit punctured through on there, though. Just slightly coming through where they've drilled in. You can just see it there. But I guess you get what you pay for at the end of the day. This isn't big money. It's kind of, you know, really affordable. Full hardware. Nice to see black bolts instead of silvers. So that does make a change. Body mounts. Again, these are 3D printed. Comes with the mag mounts by the looks of it as well, which is nice. Yep. So that's pretty cool. And again, that's not a, that's so this one is printed like this on the bed. So it's printed at this angle, which means the lines are now running along here. That will make this a lot stronger when putting your bolts through, because the lines are a lot longer and you're not running along the hole. So that's pretty good. Nice little touch there with the locking mold on it for the nuts, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, what else we got in the box bag? Right, some rail bars. This is obviously just to keep the rails from flexing backwards or forwards. Some washers, some spacers, some little nuts as well in there. That's pretty cool. And looks like some rock sliders as well. Let's have a little look. I know I could just pull the tab off, it's easier. Well, let's have a little look. All right, you know, it's not too bad. So you can see where they've actually, on this one here, they've actually changed the filament halfway through this print here, on this one anyway. You can see the different colours. You can see like that line. That might make it a little weak, but not too shabby, you know, it's quite nice. I'll find out what these holes are for. I guess this is for a cable tie. This is for a cable tie. And again, yeah, look, done the same here as well. So yeah, somewhere along the line, this was sat on the bed and it ran out of filament, and they've changed the filament. Nothing wrong with it. It happens to all of us. And a bit more hardware in there as well. Right, so an abundance of parts and bits. So I think this would be quite a nice little kit to use for the Playmobil Volkswagen. And I think we'll get it on the jig and just see kind of where the rails come up into the back and into the rear. Get a little bit of positioning going on. I know I'm going to have to do some major surgery. I'm really going to probably take this off and flare this, get this all cut back. I'm even debating kind of doing a bit of surgery at the front as well. I don't know. Just kind of flow and see how it feels as I'm doing it. All right, let's get this kit built and get it on the jig and see where we're at. All right, so that's the Ramp Crab chassis on the jig. It's difficult to see because the light's pretty poor in my workshop. But yeah, there we go. Fits together quite nicely. These are actually little 1.5, so your like scx24 size. Kind of connect the rail to the skid, And I've just kind of mocked in the front kind of link, just so I've got it kind of set roughly where I need it. That gives us a bit of an idea. It's got a 7-degree tilt on the skid as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, if I turn it to the side, you'll be able to see on the jig that it's actually got a complete slot across here, which means, you know, you've got loads of room for different settings for scx24, CR18s, the FTX24s. They all kind of mount on to it, but there we go. All right, let's have a little look and see how the body sits on it. Okay, so we're just having a quick little look. So, plenty of room inside the body to take the frame. Sits nice and low as well, so by the time the body's kind of sitting parallel with the skid, yeah, got a fair bit of wheel space there. I'm still not sure what kind of size I'm going for. You know, I've got the 60 mils, got the real dinkies. I do like the dinkies on it. It does looks more Baja though, with the slightly smaller size on it. So yeah, look, I mean, it literally fits right up into there. So with the dinkies, you know, it's pretty much Baja style. I mean, look, that's pretty cool. Not that it'd get over a lot. And then obviously with the big 60s, it's definitely going to need to be trimmed up with 60s on it. I do have a couple of other different tyres. These are DJ crawlers. These look quite good, but again, just looks too big for it. Like, I'm trying to avoid it not looking too monster truck like. And they're not too bad. RC all-wheel drive. Again, I think these are going to be around like the 52, I don't know, 50s, definitely in the 50s. 52s maybe. Ooh, let's have a look. Yeah, these are around the 52s. This is kind of like my area. I love 52mm tires on most of my rigs.
All right, so the next $1 million question is, what do we do with the body? I've seen it quite a bit on social media, and a lot of people kind of take it to the whole patina side of it, the faded bodywork. Super cool. It's my go-to. I do a lot of patina work, so I'm not sure, do I want to go down that route again? The other thing is that, you know, when I go onto Pinterest is where I get all my inspiration of builds and pictures and stuff like that. There's a lot of sand rail versions of this with the engine sticking right out the back, some long travel versions of this, but I found it quite difficult to really find a rock crawler version of a Volkswagen Beetle on that platform. There's probably other pictures, you know, on other platforms, but on Pinterest there was only half dozen, maybe a couple, and this is the one that I saw that I thought, maybe pretty cool. I would have to chop the doors off it, but looks pretty cool. We're kind of hacking the whole back end off, which I suspect we would have to do anyway. Front wheel arches would have to go, which is kind of a shame because, you know, you are removing the headlamps, but then we can put a bull bar on it. I don't know. I could even remold these into the bonnet, make a frog-eyed version. That has been done, especially in the custom world. So I could kind of see what that looks like and kind of make my own front end on it. That way I would still be able to use the headlamps, maybe.
I could completely cut the front end off, take it all the way back, and then build like a styrene bar system, which would look pretty cool. But I don't want to kind of lose the essence of the Volkswagen Beetle, and I've only got one of these, so I want to chop the least off first and make sure I'm comfortable and committed to any more. But I think if we're going to go along the kind of rock crawler side of things, then it's definitely going to have that kind of bodywork chop. Otherwise, it's kind of going to be like a Baja or a sandrail, and Bajas are lovely, and I had the Tamiya Sand Scorcher, and as a Baja, that's great, plowing over the deserts and stuff like that. But in keeping with what we do, it's going to need to look like a crawler. So I think I'm going to have to chop the front wings off and get rid of that back end. Time for surgery. All right, so I found a few things on Thingiverse. There is a Playmobil kit, which I did just download, but you can't put it into Tinkercad, and then when you pull it into the splicer, it comes with all the resin supports all over it. So I could print it off and then spend all the time cutting them off. Let me show you what it does. It would make for quite a large build, shall we say. So we're just going to pull it into the splicer, let it do its thing, and there you go. So my printer would print all this probably fine. I mean, I'm curious to see what it would turn out like. It's a steering wheel, steering column, some side rails. But then, looking at stuff like this, you see how the meshing all here is all broken. I think that's just got failed written all over it. I don't know. So I am going to attempt a different route, and it looks like I kind of used some of the bits I found anyway. I'm not too worried about the seats. I can make those, or even find another kind of seat to print. So I've been on Thingiverse and I found the engine and everything like that. I'm just going to scale it down with the length, and what I'm going to do is kind of measure with the calipers this kind of gap here, and that should give us a rough gauge of what we're looking at. The problem with scaling stuff down is it gets thinner as you scale it down. So this would be roughly 57 mil, which then takes everything down. I'm going to see if it pulls it in. Okay, so there you go. It pulled it in. So it's quite detailed, which is good. I'll be able to print it on the back. I don't need none of these, so I could just put a plate on the back of it just to make it easier for a print. That would mean, yeah. So we could have a look, see how this splices. There's a lot of little bits. It's not going to pick up this amount of detail on a filament printer. This is going to be more for a resin printer, but it could get us close, and I guess that's kind of what we're looking for, if it can get us close. Let's pull it out and have a look. All right, so we're in the slicer, and I'm just gonna have a quick look. Let's see what it wants to do. As per usual. So this is how the slicer says, let's print it like this. What that means is that you're going to get a ton of support all over the parts that you want on show. So that's not really going to work. But what I can do is put it on its side, I think. I'm going to 90 degree it that way. And flatten it to the bed. And that might make the back piece quite thin, which it probably is. Yeah, it's like wafer thin. So we can give it a little bit more meat. Now let's give it that. All right, that's a little bit thicker. All right, let's splice it, dice it, and see how it supports. Okay, and as I suspected, we're going to have a lot of fails. This here isn't picking up any of the print. You can see there's like big open space everywhere. So that's a no-go. It does, however, print. The belt seems to be okay. The carbs seem to be okay. It's just the exhaust. So let's spin it a different way and see.
Okay, I'm going to do my usual thing. I'm going to sit here and kind of tinker and see if I can get this thing to work. I've also managed to source some Baja looking wing mirrors and the rear kind of cage section. I'm going to give it a quick go, see if I can get them to scale up and get them printed, see what they look like. Might save me a little bit of work. Then again, it might add a ton more work trying to get it to work. This is the fun. This is why we do it. Right. Let's get this done.
All right, so I made a few changes to this. I actually took the exhaust clean off because it was causing nothing but problems. It's relatively easy to make an exhaust out of some tubing. So I'm probably going to do that. And as you can see by the camera shaking, the printer is already going. So I'm just going to lift that up a little bit. And I just basically put it on a flat back. And what this did is, let's just click onto the splicer. Very little support needed. A few bits and bobs here and there, nothing too drastic. And only 42 minutes to print this whole thing. And we can see if I got the scaling right. If not, we can just whack it on again at the right size. But at least we've got a guideline of what we're working for. Buzzing around. When you gotta make a mess, you gotta make a mess. There we go. No going back now. So I've hacked off the rear arches, cut off the rear, and actually now what I'm doing is just slowly trimming down the beveled of the front of the arch. This is the other side. So this will then get glued and filled back onto this section here, which will give it a real nice profile. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'm going to do the same to the front. I'm going to trim it off and then get this profile kind of back onto it, just so I keep all that nice kind of curvature instead of this kind of like just cut line. That's my plan. I'm going to get these bits glued on and see where we're at after I've got rid of all these bits of blue. Engine's still printing. It's getting there. Slowly taking shape. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Right, let's clean it up, see what it looks like. All right, so that wasn't a bad guesstimate. A lot more detail. Get the old paintbrush in there and pick up some of this detail. Yeah, pretty happy with the scale. So we know it's going to go in. Yeah, pretty cool. Oh, that looks like a junkyard. Scrap heap challenge, here we come. Right, so that let's move the chassis out of the way. Alright, so that's going to go in there somewhere just behind the vents. So what I'm going to need to do is just scribe so I can get that nice and flush. So what I'm going to need to do is get that nice and flush under there. You can just see there's like you see my finger behind it. So I need to close that gap up. So the easiest way to do that is to take, man, I can't find nothing here. Anybody else work as messy as this, let me know in the comments below, because yeah, it's fun being messy. That gets to a point where I end up just tidying it all up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that pretty much lined up, and I'm just going to take a sharper object, although I don't think that's going to mark it. Well, it has, but very faintly. We're going to need something a little better. Right, let's try this black on black. That'll work. Right. Alright, so there you go. That's just trim that in there nice and tidy. It'll be kind of nice and flat plate, as they normally do get cut like this. Might even just notch it back a tad, just to give a little bit of a recess on the back, which makes it look pretty cool. Alright, and you get some filler on it. Alright, so I've got the side seals as well. So the side seals are going to go back on in, another way. They're going to go back in there, and then I can get them glued in and filled. I'm just going to blend all this in at this end here, so this all basically gets blended in. And now I got to just decide what I'm doing from the front. Now that's the line I'm going to be taking off from here, and I might just keep that all the way along. I wonder if I could kind of bring the line and just curl it round. Creates kind of a weird. It's probably going to cause me problems on that front though. It would look cool though, keeping that in. Alright, so again, I'm going to lock the arch completely off and then take this. Now this won't go back there. This circumference here is going to be a lot longer. You can see it's stretched out, whereas this tapers in. So we're going to have to try and really think about how we're going to get that, because by the time that's rolled in, I reckon it's going to come to about here. Now I could kind of blend it in, but we shall see. Alright, so that's the front fender gone. And yeah, the good thing about this is that it does make a big gluey mess, but when you break it off, actually it's really nice and neat cut. And obviously when you're doing your measurements, look at me, I didn't measure nothing, I just went for it. But obviously you've got to account for the melt and everything around it. So, right. Let's get that off, get it all cleaned up. And then I'm just going to trim this off around here, get that done, and then we'll start fitting it back together. Did I ever tell you I just make this stuff up as I go along? But that looks absolutely beautiful. I just literally fluted this edge here. You see where this kind of curls back on itself? I'll do the same here. I'll just bring that so that curls round. Put the side skirt on. Yep, famous last words, there it is. And that's the other side. And we'll see what it looks like, but let's try and replicate that again on the other side, if I can remember how I cut it. Get this side off. We're getting somewhere. Okay, so that's the hack and slash done. Just a little frustrated. I caught it just there. I was trying to do it on my lap and I boom moved it, but I can feel that. That's not a problem. Yeah, liking the front end looks cool. Rear end looks good. Now I better clean up. It looks like I've slaughtered a small smurf around here. Look at the state of the floor. Oh no. See, now I'm on coffee. Alright, so I'm pretty much ready for fillering. So front end's all nice. And side skirts are back on. So I'm just going to blend them in. Blend the arches in. And then we can get it sanded down. It really has annoyed me a little bit, but there we go. You know, it happens. Trying to balance too many things, especially when you're trying to video stuff. But there we go. Right. Yeah, like it. Let's get some filler on it. Now, I use model filler. You can obviously use wood filler, whatever you like. I know people use the old wood filler quite a bit, but this stuff's really nice and soft to sand. It takes a little while to properly cure. You don't want to hit it too hard. I normally put it on, you know, once I've finished the project in the evenings, I just put it on, leave it till the following day, and then it's good to kind of sand. I think it's going to take a couple of coats. Got some filling to do. A bit of a gap there where I kind of took a little bit more than I did this side. But overall, pretty cool. And then I was just looking at the rear tailgate. I think what I'm going to do is actually cut the number plate and the number plate light up and kind of mount it on the frame at the rear. Something a little quirky, a little cool. And then I've got to decide what I'm going to do with the roof. I'm tempted to styrene and patch it completely in to make it a hard top and make it all nice and smooth. So I think that's going to be my plan for that. But let's get these arches filled, and then that'll be tonight wrapped up. The wife I never know. Yeah. All right there, dog. Ooh, that's gnarly. Yeah, so I just basically used my finger, just putted it around. I'll show you how easy this stuff sounds. That's why I'm not too worried about it. It sounds so smooth. But I'm really liking the look of it. It's got a really nice, cool kind of off-road feel to it now. Kept the nose. I did debate whether kind of lopping the nose off, but you kind of lose the whole essence of the bug, and we'll lose too much. And also that kind of will cover the front servo quite a bit as well, which will look pretty cool. So I guess now we just leave it till tomorrow and let it set. Alright, so I've just sanded down the bulk of the filler, just leaving me kind of the remnants of the repairs that I'm going to need to do. I'm probably going to, I reckon I'm going to take this line out and smooth this line out as well, all the way along here. So I'm going to get a little bit of filler there, clean all this up, shape this corner here. Obviously you can see all the pitting where, you know, just what you get when you filler in. It takes a couple of fills, a little bit here, a little bit here as well I need to repair. But in general, yeah, looking pretty cool. And then I just need to go around and clean all the door lines out and make sure it looks good. So my next stage now really is to remove this panel. Now with the model it does come with this, but I really don't like it. So what I did is I basically traced the panel and cut a panel to go in, and now what I'm going to do is kind of bow it and super glue it, and then I can fill it and then sand it and hopefully I won't get too much of a flat top. It's going to be a bit of a tricky sand, I think. I think potentially around here we are going to get a flat spot, but I guess that's the price you pay. I could keep filling it and keep filling it, I guess, and try and sand it down and glue styrofoam in. I mean, this is pretty thick, so hopefully I can get it to work okay. And then I can hit it with some primer, and then that'll be able to give me a good indication of where I need to kind of feel again, and kind of rinse and repeat until I get happy and where I want it. Then I can hit it with some filler primer, wet sand it, ready for colour. Right, let's figure this roof out. Right, so this roof is going to be a little tricky, so let's move the jig out of the way and take a look at the roof and all the mess. Nothing like the camera to show all the mess, but there we go. I'm not going to tidy up, you guys know the drill. So the plan is to leave this roof slightly proud, like just a smidge, and I'm going to tack super glue it in place and then start bowing it down to try and create enough to give it a bow, so that when I sand it, hopefully it will create the kind of arch that we're looking for. Let's give it a go. Alright, so first of all, let's get this centre section tacked in place. Now I'm being quite generous with the super glue because I need it to kind of hold relatively strong. Again, like I say, I'm just going to leave it a tad proud. Hit it with some activator and hope that this bites strong enough. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the centres, all the flat areas first, and then pull the corners down. Hopefully that will give us enough to bow it in. Right. Let's let those ends. Right, I'm going to let these cure completely before I start pushing these down, and then we'll try and get these corners glued in place. All right, for the next step, I'm going to use a heat gun. He says, is it on? There we go. And just going to warm it up so that it becomes a little bit softer and a little bit more pliable. So I'm just going to slowly just warm it up. I'm not going to go crazy. I don't want to melt it, just need to soften it up so it becomes a little bit more pliable. Like that. Alright, let's see if that can get these corners in. Alright, let's have a look. Hit it with activator and get it pushed down. Okay. And then again on this corner. Right, so I'm going to do this throughout, get it all tacked down, and then give it a sand and see what we're left with. Alright, so I've got the basic shape going on now. Didn't take too much. I need to get it some filler now over the top. There's a couple of divots. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it completely smooth. We shall see. You can see where it's just flat topping in just about here. but we might be able to pull that out with filler. I don't want to kind of ram too much filler on the roof, but you know, it's not too bad. The truth will be, once you kind of prime it up and you can see exactly what we're dealing with, so it just gives you a better look at what we're trying to deal with. I mean, it's not bad. I think we need to get some filler on it and yeah, see if we can pull out some of those divots a little bit more. Alright, I'm going to let the first layer dry, and then I'm actually going to put another layer on before I sand it down and just build up the layers, and then I can work it back. The thing about this stuff is it does go on really easy, but it also goes off and quite tacky very quickly when you're covering a large space. But so far, you know, we can work with it. Alright, so that's the roof cut back. I still got a little bit of filler in to still do, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's relatively flat. So I've hit it with some filler primer. Now this gives me an opportunity to look at things like that. It's still really gnarly. So what I'm going to do now is flat it back with this, which is the sanding pads real super fine. I think it's like 2000 grit and 2400 grit. That's all I've used in this whole project is this, and I'm basically just going to smooth it all off, get a little bit more filler on it, get that filler sanded down until I'm kind of happy with everything, and then I can get it in grain primer, and hopefully we are good to go. Alright, so this is where we're at right now, and I've got it nice and sanded. The rear tail piece on, which looks super cool. Kind of done the roof and a little bit of a front lump on it. But I think I'm just going to hit it with some spray and see kind of what it comes out like. So yeah, let's get it filler sprayed, get it primered, and then we can work on the rest of it. And then what I'm going to do while that's drying, I'm going to get the old ramp crab chassis all built up, get the links on, get the gearbox all mounted, and yeah, so this is on its wheels, and then get the axles on the jig, and then get ready for detailing the body and figuring out what I'm going to do paint wise. Alright, so this is where we're at the moment. So I've built the ramp crab chassis, so I just wanted to show you it as it is, all built up. Went together really nice, but I do have one bit of an issue. Underneath, the screws that they supplied for the rear links actually don't go all the way through. Probably going to have to source some other bolts before I can run it, or run the risk of running it and then deal with the consequences afterwards. But it doesn't actually catch into here. Now I've checked the kit, and that's all they give me. That's all I got. So yeah, that's not great, but I mean, it's a shame because actually it's all pretty good. Goes together right, the links are fine. I do have to swap the links around at the rear. I'm going to pull the rear out just a bit more. I wasn't going to go with such big tyres, but it actually doesn't look that bad with the bigger rims. Let's have a look at the front with the big tyres. So, movie jig. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of the front, the way it's looking on the front. So it doesn't look too bad with big tyres on it. So maybe, I think I'm going to go for it. I think I'm going to go for the 62mm kind of size, which means I'm just going to have to just tow the rear out. Kind of bring the wheel nut to this line here. And that'll push this wheel back, and that give me a chance just to bring the front back a little bit as well. Give me a bit of clearance. I don't want the body sitting too high. And I'm actually going to replicate the chassis at with that kind of 7 degree on it as well. Body, yeah, it's kind of really nice. It's still still got a few little divots and lumps in the roof. I'm not going to worry about it too much. By the time it's been one round reactive terrain, it's going to have more than a few bumps and scratches. But wheel arches come out really well. Blended all the side seals in, blended the rear arch in, kind of formed the rear tail as well. A bit more of a scarab look to it now. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the called the scarab crawler, or yeah, something, I don't know. But it looks pretty good with the servo actually at the rear. Almost looks like the motor in the back. Okay, so next steps for me is I'm going to get some more links. I've got a load of links somewhere. Find another set just to pull this out a little bit. I did have a little look. There's a fair bit of adjustment. I might be able to kind of put the rear links up here and then just put these along here somewhere. I'm gonna have a look and see what I can do, and maybe just tow it back. It's not a lot, it's about 10-15 mil. Yeah, I'd say that's about 10 mil. I gotta tow that back a little bit. I'll see if I can get it with the originals. If not, yeah, I guess I'll put some different rear links on it. Alright, I'm also going to be putting in, I'm running just stock axles, but I got one of these Endura double speed. Well, I don't think it's Endura, I think it's a knockoff. But the double geared gearbox for it. It's not essentially a 2-speed, it's more of a overdrive in it. So I'm going to put that in there as well to see how that goes. Yeah, I've pretty much built the chassis. Wheels are all on. Just going to get the drive shaft, gearbox, and then put the electrics in. Ramp crab, servo. There's my cat mucking around in a dog bowl. I'm going to mount this actually to the chassis and then put the mag mounts on the back of this to then pick up this. So I'm pretty much ready to start laying down some colour. So the body's pretty much there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do like a gloss red finish, but I'm going to have like these breakouts of kind of triangular patterns in satin black and like a gunmetal grey just breaking through on the doors, and I might do like a little strip coming on the bonnet. This is kind of just going to be a freehand kind of graphic design on it, and then I'm going to do a bit of copper pinstriping and something like that. I'm going to do what I normally do when I do body work, just make it up as I go along. Hard bodies, remember, you're working from back of house to front of house. If you were doing a clear body, you're working from front of house to back of house, i.e. base colour first, because we're working with a hard body, and if you were doing a Lennox body or a clear body, you'd be working with your main colour, working backwards. That's about it really. I'm going to get some colour before I completely lose daylight, and get this thing transformed. Well, I kind of got caught out in the rain a little bit with the spray, so I kind of did this weird tear effect, and then I found in the hobby shop like this metallic kind of vinyl that I kind of trimmed down to like really thin, and just use that to kind of scarab beetle it up. But I don't know how well it's going to stick to the body, but it looks cool for now. And I use this kind of funky thing to go over the top. It looks pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, it looks pretty now. 10 minutes on the course and it's going to be chipped and scratched. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. But so I've got these as well. So I'm just going to find the small ones and write scarab on the rear window, and possibly along the side maybe, just to give it something a little pizzazz, you know. Something different, something shiny. Not that it's going to stay shiny for long. Scarab's back on the finishing stands, so I'm just getting ready to mount the body and just finish the electronics. I've got a 3D printed cage and motor. I managed just to scale this up to the point that I needed it, and I just trimmed it back, and yeah, motor slots in there, lovely. Probably going to get rid of this base and get this mounted on the rear bumper mounts so it's permanently in place, and then I can put the mag mounts on the back of here, and then that should then kind of click on there. That's the plan. So all I'm doing is just dry brushing some silver on it. I'm not overly bothered about too much of the line work and stuff like that. And I'm just going to pick out the coil pack, the air filters, black out the fan belt, and just add maybe like an engine grey. Where is it? Yeah, so I've got like an engine grey colour. A little bit of oil in there, wherever it's gone. There we go, oil stain. Got some oil stain in there as well, just to dirty it up. Regarding the rear cage, I am just probably going to leave that black for now, and then get it glued on to the plate at the back. So I just 3D printed a back section, and I'm just going to glue it there, and it'll sit kind of this. The pumpkin don't come up any further than that, so I'm going to actually sit the engine bay as low as I dare, just to kind of really hide that from the rear. So it look quite scaled. And really that's about it. I will be putting lights in it at some point. I just got to decide what and where and how. Electrics all done. I just changed the motor connector so I can get all that fired up, and put some drive shafts in it, or prop shafts, and give it a go. Right, let's finish this engine off, and we hopefully can get it mounted. Alright, there you go. Nothing fancy. Literally took me like minutes to quickly dry brush, a couple of spots of colour, bit of silver, and now all I'm going to do is just get a black marker and just mark up the fan belt in, just to kind of black that back out a bit. And that really is kind of it, really. Not much else to kind of worry about. I could put some cables in there and stuff like that, but hell, it's going to be covered in mud quicker than we can worry about it. So I'm now going to get that mounted into place. Alright, so like I say, this was found on Thingiverse. I just flattened it all off, put it on a back plate, and I printed it up right. I also found this, and all I did was just put this into the splicer and just reduce it down until I was happy with the size. And what I've done is I've actually cut these parts off here, cut these parts off to leave just this cradle, because this then just clicks onto here like super clean, and I can then basically, there we go, basically just glue that in place. Make sure it's level at the bottom, which you can see because of the daylight. Keep adjusting it, and that's it. I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue down these seams here, and then that whole plate can then be mounted to the back of there.
There you go. The Scarab, or Scarab. Fun build. Really enjoyed doing the bodywork. Engine bay looks really good. Super cool detail.
Alright, there you go. Scarab is done. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing the body. It was nice to get on a bit of body work and yeah, do some detailing. Engine bay was nice and simple but good fun, nice and effective. Looks really cool. I decided to put the exhaust up here. It just, I don't know, it was blocking some of the engine. I didn't want it to block the engine, so I put the exhaust high up. Yeah, so I ended up using this like gold. This is like from a sticker pack from a craft place. I just scalpeled it down and run these coppery gold strikes through it. A little bit more kind of, I don't know, Egyptian-y, scarab-like. They have a lot of gold and stuff like that. The roof didn't come out too bad. A little flat topped, but overall not too shabby. I mean, there's a few blemishes. You can see where it started to rain when I was coating it. I could rub it all down, but I'll wait until I decide to redo it and do a different paint job. It really won't take long to get a few scratches on it. Flex wise, yeah, I mean it's good enough. It's all right. It's just, you know, don't need much more than that. Enduro oil-filled shocks. Let's have a little look under the body. So I got it mag mounted at the front, and then I just made this slider for the back. It sits on the back of the engine bay, so that just slides into there and then just clicks on like that. Job done. It's quite loose, so you can't really pick it up from the body really. I generally don't do that anyway, but I could put a magnet on it, but we'll see if it keeps rolling off. The just running the MB100, little 600 milliamp battery. I think this is a 050, although I can't find anything on it. This is the 2-geared torque box on it. Version 1, yeah, it runs all right. I'm going to get it on the course tomorrow, take some pictures of it and see how it goes to wrap up the video, really. I'll show you how slow it goes with this torque kind of twin speed box in it. Okay, so just running the ramp crab servo on it. Nothing too fancy. It's got a bit of a does half chip. Running on the version 1. But let's have a look at the slow crawl. It's pretty good. It's not as slow as brushless. It's a little bit, but you can definitely get it slow. Let's see if it let's do a little tester. See if it'll crawl over something slow. Yeah, so it does cock up a little bit there. Just trying to squeeze. Yeah, well, you know, for a brush, you can't ask for much more out of a brush system, so I think that's pretty good. Right, let's get it dirty. Let's get some scratches on it. Let's make it look like it's been to reactive terrain, and hopefully I don't fall off the mountain and smash it to pieces.